Welcome to Professor's Garage. My friend's 2005 Toyota Sienna. 21-year-old, over 200,000 miles. Family trips, grocery runs, and probably more memories than the resale value can ever measure. So does it make sense to spend a few $100 modernizing a vehicle so dated and out of fashion? Today, we're installing a floating touchscreen with wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, front and rear cameras, 4G connections, GPS, and modern audio controls. Here is the catch. For a car of over 2 decades, exact fit options are almost non-existent. We found a ATOTO X10, large floating screen. The radio is universal, but the Sienna is not. So how do we get them to fit? Let's get to work. Again, the ATOTO X10 is a universal unit, and it works well, only the supporting ports are right. For this van, that means getting additional dash kit and wiring harness from Metra. One for the physical fit, and one for the electrical connection. No cutting factory wires today. We'll remove the factory radio, plug in the new screen, test before final assembly, and let the results speak for itself. My trusty trim removal tools. And on Japanese vehicles, it's always a good idea to have a 10mm socket. The plastic has survived 21 years. Be gentle. Start with the left and right trim panels around the radio. These should be relatively easy, but again, take your time, start from the bottom. The tab at the bottom, press it and pull it. While pressing it, you can pry the tab away. It's out. Yep. For this connector, you can insert the tip of the tool into the gap, press it, and then pry it away. Push it in, and then pry it away. Now on the right side, again, pry from the bottom, and then move inch by inch. Just one connector here. Use the tip, push it in, and then turn to pry it away. And it comes out. The right piece is out. There's a speaker cover above the radio. Let's remove it. The tabs here. And then 2 clips, one on each side. On the right side, as you can see, there are 2 bolts, and then there are 2 on the left side. Let's remove the 4 bolts. 10mm. 1, 2. Same on the left. 3, 4. And now we can remove the radio. Put a piece of towel to protect that. So you can just pull the radio out and then perhaps flip it if possible. I think so. Okay, so this is upside down. Be careful with the windshield. The connectors, press, pull, press, pull, press it, and then try to pry it away with the removal tool. The 4 connectors are all out. We are ready to swap the radio. Not too fast. There's still a connector here. Old radio connector, just pull it out. Now that the radio has been removed, we are going to install the brackets to mount the new radio. ATOTO product is very well designed and their instructions are terrific. So let's take a look. On this product, you can install it for a single DIN radio unit, but it also supports a double DIN installation. And because this radio is double DIN, we are going to follow the double DIN installation. And what you need is frame number 1. There are 2 frames here, and frame number 1 is this one. This is frame number 1. This may not be needed. And then you need this DIN socket, basically just to add the thickness to the existing frame to make it double DIN. And of course, some brackets and screws. Step number 1, remove the original car frame. We have removed the radio with the panel, so that is done. Step number 2, fix frame 1 and the DIN pocket with mounting brackets and mounting screws. This is bottom, this side up with 2 mounting points, and we use the brackets to secure them together. Now I'm going to reuse the bracket from the old radio, and these are screws from the product. On the left side of the radio, so take off the bracket. For the top holes, we're going to reuse the factory screws. Because the metal piece, this frame has threads and the screws fit. But for the plastic, we are going to use screws from the product. Good. Fasten the screws. Okay, these two pieces are fixed together, which is great. For the Wi-Fi antenna, looks like you can mount to the back of the plastic pocket. Do not put any of the antennas on the metal piece because it's going to interfere. Let me also show you the dash kit from Metra. So these are the pieces. And of course, this is the front panel. It should match the size of the factory radio. They're the same. These brackets, I don't think we need them because we already have the side brackets here. So these are supposed to match the factory bracket. Just in case you cannot mount them properly, you can use these. But we're going to put these aside. Looks like this is how they will fit together. So let's go back to the car and install these pieces. Now back in the car, we're going to put this in and thread the connectors through the frame. Looks like it's a good fit. Nice. First, secure the bottom mounting bolts. Remember the 10 millimeter? So let's put these back on. One. Now I'm going to test this dash kit to see if it fits. Looks like it does. It fits nicely. Things line up, so I'm going to put in the 2 additional screws to secure this in place. And then on the other side. So let me show you the alignment. This screw and then the screw at the bottom. Now for this dash kit, it's lined up at the screw hole here, and also there's a dot. There's a hole here that goes in. So this fits perfectly here, and the same thing on the other side. Okay, there's also a hole here and the screw hole. So now everything is lined up. Tighten the mount bolts. Good. And we can put this piece on. There's a tiny detail at the bottom of this piece, flush. When you put this piece in, it's going to sit nicely. Okay, all good. And from Metra again, these are Toyota harnesses for the Sienna. This is the connector. This is another one. Now we know the Metra harnesses fit, and the loose wires will connect to the provided connector from ATOTO, and they should match color by color. It will be easier to move to the bench to continue the work. And we are going to take all these to the bench and connect them, splice them together. Now on the bench, we'll start with the simple one, purple and green. Purple and green. And these are for the rear speakers. Rear right negative and rear right positive. Rear left positive. And of course, rear left negative. And we'll match them. On the Metra wires, there's no label, but if you look carefully, the solid colors are positive. The color with the black stripe, those are negative. So positive, negative. To splice all these wires, the best option and the easiest option would be to use these butt connectors with heat shrink. You simply just thread them in from both sides, crimp them together, and then you can apply heat. So they will stay together. This would be the easiest. I run out of these, so I'm going to use the most basic method, which is to splice them using the Western Union style. Slide in a heat shrink tube before you splice them and cross them. Make sure the wires are tidy. Bend them. Start with one and then wrap it around the other. Okay. And then once this side is wrapped to the other side, so that one is clockwise, wrapping around the other, and then the other one is counterclockwise. Should be tight. Not the best, but it works. Now we can slide the tube on, but I'm not going to apply heat for now because I want to test the connections, make sure everything works before I apply heat. I'm going to show you one more and then I will do the rest offline. Now on the negative side, make it a bit longer, make it tidy. Good. And then the negative, make it clean. Negative to negative, and then wrap around each other on both sides. The Western Union spice. Good. I forgot my heat tube. Again, remember the heat shrink tube first. Okay, don't forget that. Cross it, wrap around on one side, and then wrap the other around counterclockwise. So they'll fight against each other and make it tight. Slide the tube over and you're all good. I will move on to the other wires and I will show you the result at the end. Okay, wiring for the rear speaker connection is done. Positive, negative, positive, negative. All good. Now the connector for power supply, speakers in the front, and accessories. In case you are wondering, the Metra package provides clear labels for the color code. Accessory, red, battery power, yellow, and black is for ground. To be clear, orange white is for dimmer, but on the unit, orange black is for steering, so this is not the wire. But the solid orange is for dimmer. Connect the solid orange to orange white. Solid gray for right front speaker, positive, and stripe for negative. White wires for the front left. Red for the accessories. Dark blue, light blue, slightly different blue colors. Power antenna. On the Metra, it also says power antenna. So connect these for the power antenna. This Metra harness doesn't support parking brake or steering wheel control, so these two are not connected. These three actually, positive, negative. And for the rear camera, this connection is the activation cable that should come from the rear camera kit. It looks like every wire available has been connected. On the back of the new radio touchscreen unit, let's connect the connector. These are for various power connections, power supply, to the speakers for the RCA, the cameras, three-way audio, microphone, GPS, Wi-Fi, and 4G antenna in one. This kit also provides a SIM card with a trial plan for your 4G connection, but I don't think we are going to try it today. Just know that you have this option. And screen protector films, nice to have. Now everything is connected. We are ready to get into the car again to mount the new radio unit. Now we are ready to connect everything in. All these antennas will go to the back. Lots of cable in here. Plug the power supply and the rear speakers. And there's an old radio. You can plug in this later when we test the radio. We'll also connect the camera in so that we can test them together. Let's turn on ignition. The unit is on. External microphone inserted. I'm not sure what it means. Looks like it's on. For the audio test, I'm going to insert the radio antenna just to see if it's going to play radio and whether the sound is okay. The radio app here. Let's switch to something we know. I don't think steering wheel control works. No. You will have to adjust the volume here. Okay, sound works and it's powered on, which is good. Now let's test camera support. I'm going to try the front camera first. The camera unit from the camera. Cable E to E, male to female. And then on the other side, it's D to D. And then this will go into the DVR on the back of the screen. Front camera, cable all the way to the DVR port here. And it clicks. Hit this icon and it actually turns on and shows the front view. Nice. So it works. For the rear view, a bunch of connectors here. From the rear view camera, the G connector, G connects to G. On the other side, F. If you are using the rear camera alone, there's an additional connector that you can connect in, and then the other side will connect to the DVR port on the unit. Now, because we are going to use both the front and the rear, and the front connector is already in, and you see this is F. And so we are going to connect the rear view F to the F input on the existing front camera DVR connector. And this will support both the front and the rear. Okay, so let's also test the rear to make sure it works before we continue. The quality of this camera is great. It's actually quite heavy, metal construction. It's powered on. From the rear view camera, there is this white wire. To test whether the rear view will work, I spliced this white wire from the rear view camera to this rear camera positive, because there is power from this wire. And now, once this is connected and when you turn on, this rear view is working. You just need to provide power to it through this white wire. Both cams are now working, but when you shift to reverse, that's when you want the rear view. In settings, under camera, you want to display rear view when reversing, right? And with the reverse guideline, this is the default behavior. You can also switch to front view when reversing, which is not what we are going to do. So how can we achieve that? The trick is, instead of connecting this white wire to the unit with constant power supply, install the rear view in the rear anyway. This cable is long enough to reach the backup light, and we're going to connect to the power source. When you shift to reverse, the rear view will also be provided power to turn on. I hope this makes sense. So we are going to do that and test it. Route the front view and rear view camera cables all the way across the driver's side to reach the unit here. We can fish the cable from there, both the front view and rear view cables. Yep, good. We make sure it can reach the back of the screen, which is good. We'll probably route from this to the back. Okay, so it will be easier. Make sure the cables are long enough, and we'll connect these back in to the ports. So they are connected here. And now we can start routing the cables to the cameras. Front camera, the cable wiring can hide inside the headliner and tuck it inside the weather strips. And for this portion, we're going to zip tie later, once everything is in place. And now, for the rear camera cable, do the same. Tuck it under the weather strip. One caveat here, when you pass through, if there is a side airbag, you don't want to go over or get in the way of the airbag. You want to go under or besides the airbag. No side airbag here. It makes things easier. I'll show you again at the end of the vehicle. Again, no side airbag here, so it's easy. Otherwise, you probably need to remove the cover and then thread the cable under the airbag. And don't cover the airbag. It's risky. This is actually better than the Honda Odyssey I have worked on. Easier. Feed the cable like this, as tiny as possible. I think it's out. We'll remove the cover. There are a couple of lights. 1, 2, 3 lights here. This is the reverse light, and this is the positive wire. So we're going to tap into the positive to get power for the rear view camera. We confirm this is the reverse light, backup light, and we are going to tap into that red wire, the positive wire. Use this quick connect splice. So this will tap into the positive for the reverse light. And when you put into reverse, this will activate the rear view camera. Just for a quick test, plug this in, start the car, give it a test. The rear view is on, but let's go to the normal mode. Shift to R, and the rear view is on. Put it back, it's off. This is great. And the resolution, let's take a look. Beautiful, love it. Now I'm going to shut it off, put everything together, and we are ready for a demo. Mount the camera in the middle above the license, and this is the license light housing. We can drill a hole here and thread the rear view camera cable in. From behind the license plate light housing, turn it counterclockwise, and then you can take it out, thread the cable from there. Find a drill bit similar in size to the cable, drill a hole here. Plastic should be very easy. I hope this works. Finally, I have to drill in the middle. On the side, it will get stuck because there's metal. I'm going to apply silicone to seal it at the end. We'll mount under the Toyota emblem. And now on the back of the license plate light housing, I'll plug this back on to the rear view camera. For the light housing, because we passed this through, you may need to cut the housing on the edge so you will be able to put the light back on. Zip tie, push this panel back. It's on, almost there. Tuck the extra inside, secure this portion. put things back. So a few things I will leave outside. USB cables and the microphone. Everything else will go to the back. It's difficult to organize the cables in the back, so I'm going to change my approach. I'm going to loosen these mount bolts, take the frame out, take this out, and put things in the back. Cut all the cables in the back so that the unit can go through, can be inserted into the frame. Finally, it's moving in. And these two holes should line up. Okay, I'm going to route the USB cable in and out from this side so that we can route back to the front. And because the radio antenna is at the top, we route it to the top. All these cables tuck to the back, all the way to the back. Wi-Fi antenna at the top here. And make sure you're not crushing anything. Put this in place and test it. Shift to reverse. And the rear view camera. Microphone cable. The USB cables to the glove box. And we have two USB cables. One for external device and the other is for recording storage. Tuck the microphone cable away. For the speaker cover, line up the two tabs and then just push it in. On this side, the right panel, just one connector. Put it back, tuck it in, and just press it in. Good. On the other side, on the left side, two connectors. One, two, plenty of space. Just push it in. Good. Is this a good place? Oh. This is a floating screen and the height and angle can be adjusted. Just remove this decorative cover from both sides and then you will see screws here. Same on the other side. Remove the screws, two screws on each side. And then this can be lower. Once you adjust this to your desired height, you can retighten the screws on both sides. I will adjust the vertical angle to tilt a bit adjustment screw and then there's another one on the other side. Now we can tilt this down much better. Take a look. And now this tilts down a little bit because previously it was like facing upward and now it's more like horizontal to the view. Anyway, you can adjust the height, the tilt angle, and also the left-right, likely these two for left and right adjustment. To make sure rear camera is secure, I'm going to draw it today. And here you go, the Android Auto. Take me to the Peace Valley Park.
Okay, navigating to Peace Valley Park.
Let's go. Connect to CarPlay. First, connect to the Bluetooth. X10 Bluetooth. Continue. Pair. Allow. Connect. Continue. Oh, I need to enable Siri. Once I enable Siri, it works. We are connected. Beautiful. The screen is massive. Love it. Siri, play some music. When you shift to reverse, the rear view camera, very clear. Resolution is great. We can also show the front view. Very nice. Back to CarPlay. This is the CarPlay. And there you have it. What a beautiful upgrade with modern features connected to your phone. Is it worth it on an outdated family minivan? You can decide yourself. But my friend is thrilled with the 10-inch screen. No more navigation on the phone, and they truly enjoy the factory sound for music and voice guidance. And this install is not just for Sienna. The same idea can work on many older vehicles with a single DIN or double DIN opening. You just need the correct dash kit and wiring harnesses. I will put ATOTO X10 10-inch screen, Metra dash kit, wiring harness, and discount information in the video description below. Feel free to check it out. And if Professor can do it, you can do it. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and give you peace. 平安。